Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. I hope you're all doing very, very well. Welcome back. It is match day, and there is plenty to go through, plenty to talk about regarding Chelsea Football Club at the moment. We are taking on Crystal Palace in our opening fixture in the Premier League. We'll also have a couple of updates regarding transfer news as well, which obviously are important, but I think more important is the idea of what we can actually do today and where Chelsea can be in the next couple of hours when we take on Crystal Palace. So big up to everyone that's watching. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel as well. And without further ado, let's get stuck into it. Let's dive into this match. Let's see what is relevant. Obviously, we have spoken about a number of things yesterday, last night. If you were on the stream, we went through a number of things, but there has been a few new revelations since then. So still a few updates in there, and a couple of things that I think are very relevant as well going into this game. We're going to start off on the centre-back issue, which has really become more of a big deal than I thought it needed to. But I can appreciate that why Maresca wants another centre-back. But the Athletic came out. Liam Twoney came out in the evening yesterday and wrote an article for them about why Chelsea are not inclined to sign a new centre-back this summer. And it goes on to say, this. Let me just get it up quickly. Enzo Maresca says he thinks Chelsea need a new centre-back to replace the injured Levi Colwill, but don't expect them to sign one this summer. You know how important Levi was last season for the way we want to play. Chelsea's head coach said in a press conference at Cobham on Friday, we said many times that we can create chances and to attack in the right way. If we can build up in the right way, Levi was a huge part of our build-up, and now he is out. We are trying to find a solution internally, but the club know exactly what I think, and we will see what happens. I think we need a new central defender. Maresca's comments jarred with last week's transfer deal sheet, which reported that Chelsea are not inclined to panic following the anterior crucial ligaments. That's the ACL tear that Levi Colwill picked up in training at Cobham and is expected to sideline him for most of this season. They feel no urgent need to go into the transfer market to find a replacement for the 22-year-old. Sources at Chelsea speaking anonymously to The Athletic can confirm their stance has not shifted. Three main factors inform the decision: confidence in the depth that has been amassed in this squad, a lack of suitable options available in this window, and full faith in Maresca and his coaching staff to work with and improve the talent at his disposal. Let's look at each of the three in turn, it then says. There is a strong belief within the Chelsea hierarchy that they have built the deepest squad in the Premier League, and centre-back might be its deepest position. All the 10 senior defenders Maresca has competing for 4 starting spots. Only Malo Gusto is not adapted to playing in a back three, which is what the defensive line becomes when the team is in possession. Not all the other 9 are suitable for the specific role Maresca is discussing, that of the central defender in the back three, who generally has more responsibility for progressing the ball in this system. Colwill is superb in that role, highly adept at punching low pinpoint passes through the opposition lines into the feet of the Chelsea midfielders or attacking in front of him. Tosin is the other player Maresca has leaned on heavily in this position last season, often playing in the middle of Chelsea's back three in the Conference League, as well in specific Premier League games when Colwill was deployed further left and Marc Cucurella was pushed up. And then Maresca said, we build with Levi in the middle, Last year, we played 64 games, and 64 games with Levi and Tosin. Now Levi is out. The only one who can do that job well is Tosin. Also, we have players who, unfortunately, like Wesley Fofana and Benoit Badiashile, have some problems. And this is why the club knows exactly what I think about central defenders. Badiashile has demonstrated the ability to progress the ball from central defence at times in his rollercoaster Chelsea career. In many respects, the 24-year-old has a similar profile to Colwell. He may be the best like-for-like replacement in the squad when fit. There's also people at the club who believe 19-year-old Josh Achimpong can do that job if given more opportunities and experience. Aaron Salmino, who also knows how to play in the middle of a back three from his time at Boca Juniors. At this early stage of his career, the 20-year-old is understandably at the bottom of Chelsea's depth chart in defence, but he could still be used as a bench option at some point during a long season if he impresses Maresca in training. The other senior defenders available to Maresca, Cucurella, Hato, Chalobah, Reece James, are all viewed as being better suited to defending the wide spaces on the left or right of the back three. And that leaves Tosin, Badiashile and Achimpong as realistic Colwell deputies. Secondly, there is the market, which centre-backs are actually available for Chelsea to sign this summer, and which centre-backs are available for Chelsea to sign this summer and good enough to be considered upgrades on their depth options. Dean Huijsen was one, and Chelsea were prominent among the Spain international suitors in May until he made it clear he wanted to join Real Madrid. Mark Guehi's situation at Crystal Palace remains unresolved, making him perhaps the obvious name. He was monitored closely in January, but that was with a view to deploy him on the left of the back three, where he played at times for Palace in England. Ibrahima Konate, another defender set to be a free agent in 2026, has been linked with Chelsea in recent days, but he is more of a wide centre-back than a central ball progressor. And I will say as well, just coming off of that for a second, if anyone watched the Liverpool-Bournemouth game, Konate was horrendous. He was rubbish. So he didn't sell himself very well from what I've seen. So I wouldn't say I'm a massive fan of that transfer as it stands. But again, anything can happen. And for the right price, we can certainly have a conversation. Despite the reputation they have earned for recruiting aggressively and on a large scale, Chelsea are wary of panic buying. The almost total player overhaul that began in January 2023 has been done. The squad is regarded as being in a strong position, and the bulk of the club's recruitment is now either a long-term investment in elite potential or targeted tweaks to the first team rather than major surgery. One cautionary example from recent history is Axel Disasi, signed for around 45 million euros to 38 million pounds from Monaco in August 2023. Shortly after Fofana tore his ACL, he was immediately deemed unsuitable for Maresca's style of football on the Italians' appointment the following summer, and is now one of several players the club are looking to offload. The risk of overreacting to Colwell's injury and making a similar error in the summer's market is considerable, particularly with no obvious target to pursue. In a scenario where a more obscure replacement could be found, even their success will create a problem once Colwell returns to fitness. Colwell's performance level and personality within the squad means he should remain a key piece in their long-term planning despite the setback. Chelsea's determination to hold to the long view also extends to Mamadou Sarr, who was loaned back to Strasbourg to continue his development following a 14 million euro transfer in June from the other club under Blue Co's umbrella, which is Strasbourg. There is a huge excitement about the 19-year-old's potential to play any of the roles in Maresca's defensive line, and he could be ready to do so as soon as next season. What happens when Colwell returns to fitness is probably not foremost in Maresca's mind, and nor it should be. He is a head coach who is judged on his results, and everything he says and judged should be viewed within that prism. He is also under no obligation to disclose the motives behind his words. Could he be trying to motivate the other defenders in his squad? Could he be trying to manage the expectation of the fans dreaming of a Premier League title? In any case, Chelsea made a long-term commitment to Maresca in his style of football by handing him a 5-year contract on his appointment last summer. The early returns on that decision, a top 4 finish that secured Champions League qualification plus 2 trophies, have been hugely encouraging. Chelsea's hierarchy regard Maresca as a talented coach, capable of delivering results while also developing the talent in the Premier League's youngest squad. His comments on Friday, the Italians also mentioned that he and his staff are trying to find a solution internally to Colwell's absence. And that all signs to the point being the path in what remains of August and beyond, which means that Chelsea will most likely not be bringing in a new centre-back anytime soon. You don't like Maresca. You always blame him for everything. I haven't blamed him for anything at all, Sean. So I guess you've been dreaming again. Have you had a nightmare or something? What's going on? Big up to Daniel. I hope you're doing well. Can't believe we're not looking at a centre-back. Josh versus Mateta today will be a massacre. So you think we're going to start Josh Achimpong? That would be intriguing. I'm interested to see that one. Sporting directors are clowns and clueless. Chelsea, go get a new centre-back. Lots of games coming up. You make centre-backs available, not just looking for opportunities, for fuck's sake. We are going to lose against Palace, I bet you that. Sean, I predicted that too, but I hope our attack can carry us at least to score that many goals. They're literally telling him to coach and shut up. Yeah, I'll be honest with you guys. You know, me personally, I'm very critical of what we were doing last season. Anyone who watched the channel consistently can tell you that. I don't have a massive problem with it. You know, I don't think the club are taking the piss. They're not. They've backed the guy. Maresca has been backed. Say what you want, Maresca has been backed. And I said this yesterday. If anyone was watching my stream yesterday, you write a Christmas wish list for your parents or your family. You never get everything you want, especially if your list is quite long. You don't get everything you want in life. Sometimes, you know, you'll get certain things and you won't get certain things. I can undoubtedly say with confidence, with chest, that I think we've improved the squad. I think the squad is better. I think the squad looks like it's got more quality. I think you know, the signings were intelligent and smart. I think that most of the deals we got were good value. I wouldn't say necessarily Gittins was good value. I wouldn't say that João Pedro was good value. I think we could have got both of those players cheaper. Now, again, that doesn't mean they can't perform. I'm just saying I think we could have paid a little bit less for them. You know, but if you look at Delap, that's a fantastic deal. We probably saved about 20 million on Delap because of his release clause. If you look at Hato, we saved at least 10 million. That's public information because Ajax were desperate to raise funds. We got Estevao and Santos considerably cheap because we bought them when they were much younger, and we put a lot of faith in them when nobody else did. Asugo was not a particularly expensive transfer. Who else? Those are the main ones, really. Have I missed anyone? And Selmino has obviously come in. So when people criticize, like, I mean, personally, I was never actually against the board of directors anyway. I mean, I was more against the ownership because of the structure that they put in place. Because, look, it's very difficult to buy quality players if you're restricted in terms of what you're allowed to sign. And I actually think that the board have done exceptionally well in hindsight. I think they've done very well. So, I mean, if you're going to blame anyone, you don't blame the board, you blame the ownership. Because they're the ones that set the parameters of what you're allowed to sign. But I can appreciate why people are upset or emotional about not getting a centre-back. All I would say to you is, if signing a centre-back meant that some of the other players that we've already signed we didn't sign, would you say yes to that? And I think most people would say no. If I said signing a centre-back meant we didn't get João Pedro, or we didn't get Delap, or we didn't get Gittins, or we didn't have Santos or Asugo, or Hato. You know, I know Hato can play as a centre-back, but you understand the point, right? Then I don't think that you would like that very much. I don't think you'd like that. But I just seen a comment from Christian saying loan Christensen. And that makes a very good point as well, which is, you know, we could loan a defender. And loaning a defender is not a bad shout. I mean, it kind of goes against the grain of what Chelsea have been trying to do in terms of building up players of their own squad. Why would they want to work with a player that isn't a part of their project? I mean, Chelsea are very, very committed to essentially only building up their own talent. I guess the best way of describing it is like a YouTuber that wants everyone to come on his channel, but then refuses to go on anyone else's channel. That's what Chelsea are, right? If it's not going to benefit Chelsea financially, then they're not going to do it. They are not going to do it. We're not a collaborative club in that sense, unless we're collaborating with Strasbourg, who we own. So actually, when you talk about loaning a centre-back as well, and Christensen would be a good option. I mean, I've spoken with Lewis about Christensen. I think actually that's a very fair comment. I don't think it will happen either. I don't think Chelsea will do that either. But maybe it depends again on how much of a fuss Maresca makes. If Maresca's constantly complaining about this centre-back issue internally at the club, and obviously he's already complained publicly, then there's definitely a conversation to be had about whether Chelsea can sign someone short-term. It doesn't mean you have to go out and spend £1 million. We still have a couple of weeks in the window. It is getting to that point where it's crunch time because the league has obviously started and, you know, clubs are getting settled with their players. The later you get into the window, the more reluctant other clubs are going to be to offload players because they obviously want to have a settled squad. And if they do sell a key player, and again, I don't actually know how important Christensen is to Barcelona at this moment in time. Let me know in the comments. I haven't been watching too much of it. But you would presume that if any club is selling a decent player in their squad, they would want a replacement. So this isn't really a deal that you want to let slide for too long. This is something you'd want to make. You'd want to make it happen relatively quickly because obviously we want to just get everything done. I mean, that's totally fair. But on the other side, on the flip side, whoever gives us a player, they're going to want to bring in a replacement. So it's very fair for them to demand a little bit of time if they're even going to negotiate, because once you start getting to the last week, I think you're really cutting out a lot of your options. But again, money talks. You know, great offers will certainly make clubs have a think about what they want to do. Don't expect miracles from the manager when the Premier League strikers bully our defenders. He did alarm us. Yeah, again, like, it's one player. It is one player. It's one player, man. I think we just need to calm down a bit. Thank you. This squad is incredibly strong. If Colwell's injury happened the day after the window closed, how would anyone be able to complain outside of the goalkeeping situation? Couldn't agree more. It helps that Petrovic is off to a slow start and we made Magic Mike look average. I'll agree with you there. Although I do think, you know, Petrovic made some good saves. People are acting like he had the worst game ever. I thought he made some good saves in that game. Would Chelsea buy a new centre-back? Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it at all. I don't think Santos will start today either. I still don't like the directors, but the buys are better now. See, again, like, my opinion has never been any anger that I've had has not really been at the directors. I think I've had days where I'm frustrated with them, sure, but it's the ownership that give them the criteria. They're only allowed to sign what they're allowed to sign. If the ownership wanted Victor Osimhen and all these other established players, we would have got them. We clearly had the money. We're clearly, able to sign whoever we wanted at a certain point. And our criteria was younger players with potential on low wages with long contracts. So when you end up looking at every signing in that sense, you're cutting out a few options. Big up Chelsea young boys. Can't wait to get to the game now. Chelsea. Man, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good day. Well, I hope it's going to be a good day. But yes, I really wouldn't panic too much. I'm sure we can worry a little bit. That's fair. But yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves and thinking that we're going to get relegated because Colwell is no longer in our squad for however many months. Better be a loan instead of a permanent deal. That's fair. Eze is playing for Crystal Palace. He's in the squad for that game. It did come out that there's actually a good chance he will start, which is really frustrating because I said last night if he was starting, I was considerably less confident, but I'm still confident. I don't change my score prediction. I still think we'll win 2-1, but it's frustrating because a lot of their attacks go through Eze. Let's put a marker down and hit the ground running up the Chelsea. One of Chalobah, Tosin, or Josh needs to leave before a centre-back comes. I don't see Chelsea going into the season with 6 centre-backs fighting for 2 positions. What do you think about the idea that Gusto will benefit in the long run from being forced to invert for a full season? It will help him grow as a player in a similar way Colwell playing left-back did. No, I don't like that idea at all. I don't think that Gusto works as a inverting fullback. I just, we've seen it enough. We've seen it in big games as well. We've seen it in a cup final. It didn't look great, did it? It didn't look particularly good. So if we're being totally honest with ourselves, and me personally, I always try and say it how I see it, which is why I don't regret. I mean, I regret certain things that I say, but generally I don't regret most of the things that I come out with, because at the time of saying them, it does make sense. And Gusto inverting was horrendous. No doubt about it, was horrendous. And that hasn't changed. So I don't see why that would change, to be honest with you. I mean, we've seen there are ways that we can get the best out of Gusto, and it's not rocket science. You just need to let the guy run up and down the pitch, let him overlap. And when he overlaps, he is arguably one of the best in the business for his age group. I mean, I don't think there's many that can compete with Gusto overlapping because he looks fantastic. And there's a reason he was still starting for France, even when he was playing poorly for us, because Didier Deschamps knows what he's good at. So, play players in a way where you can get the best out of their qualities, and then you'll see them perform, and ultimately the team should get results as well. Can't sell Fofana or Badiashile because they're injured. I think we'll get a centre-back. Maresca has done a brilliant job, and if he's publicly said he wants one, it's more than likely they agreed. Again, mate, I just go back to what I was reading at the beginning of the stream. Not everybody was on here. I'll briefly share my screen. I won't read it again. The Athletic come out with this article, and I do think that, to be quite honest with you, we won't be seeing Chelsea getting a centre-back. I mean, I just don't. I'll be honest with you, mate. I'm kind of with the Athletic on this one. I don't think that we'll do it. I would like us to do it. Again, I'm not sitting there advocating for not getting a centre-back. I would like us to do it, but I don't think we will. Still got to Sassy. Yeah, he's not involved. Definitely not. Kukurea, Hato, Chalobah, James today. That's what you think. Fair enough, Pete. Christensen is kind of being forced out because Mark Kabasi, their wonder kid, and Arahu, the captain, are the starters. and he makes too much money to be a backup. Well, maybe that's an option we can look at. Although I will say this, the physicality of the Premier League, I always thought Christensen struggled a bit in that sense. But, he'll have a little bit of muscle next to him, hopefully, with James and Cucurella. And, if he's playing with a player like Tosin as well. So, yeah, I haven't got an issue with the Christensen loan. I think that's a fair option. Badiashile, Tosin, Chalobah, Fofana, Josh, and a new centre-back makes it 6 centre-backs in 2 positions. Tosin is injured now too. So Achimpong, Osman is a mercenary, and Bowley flew to Italy to meet him, and the deal was too much. What Osman and his agent wanted, so F him. Fair enough. Hey, listen, guys. That's this is where we are, guys. We just need to... Hello, Carlton. Hope you're doing well. Why are we panicking? Be smart, be calm. The only thing is key, a win. Well, if that is you, Carlton, then big up to yourself. And it's great to see you on the stream. Maybe I've got to get you on the channel at some point. If you're the Carlton I'm thinking of, I can see your last name Simmons, so I think that is you. We need to get you on, mate, because it's been a while. When was the last game we went to? It's been a while, honestly. Big effort. Big effort. In the same way we ran Cucurella into the ground last year, it might just be Tosin's turn. Well, I mean, we've got to keep players fit. That's what we have to do. I think Chelsea will beat Crystal Palace today. I think we will as well. From the PSG, the only one player is missing. Surely not quite the end of the world. Have to agree with you on that as well. Football VAR. Chelsea fans are so funny. They scream, sell the injury-prone players as if people are waiting to buy them. Have you seen the outgoing list of healthy players? No manager in the Prem is being backed if Maresca isn't. If someone wants to rip you off in any walk of life, tell them to go take a flying jump, get the reputation of being soft and easy to exploit, and rip off is game over, man. I guess you're talking about Maresca when you say that, but I do think that's, a little bit, I don't know if that is that Maresca? Chelsea stood on business and told Osman, we ain't paying your ransom demands basically in the world. We are not being held to ransom. Okay, so you're talking about the club there. That's fair. I'm not saying he works in that role, but I'm just saying there are experiences gained from playing in that style that he may be able to add to his game when he goes to being a normal fullback. Let's not forget we have Hato who can play centre-back. Everyone stay calm. We can IX and get what we need. They're improving the owners and the sporting directors to help Maresca and grow us into a powerful force once again up the Chelsea. If you just spend recklessly, the project won't sustain profitability and grow. Look, we don't want a squad of Sterlings. Do you want a situation where the signing of a centre-back triggers an exit, a desire to exit for Achimpong and Anselmino? If they can't get game time in situations like this, shouldn't they reconsider their future? To be honest with you, I think Chelsea are open to loaning both of them anyway, and I think that would be a smart decision. So if loaning those two then allows us to bring another centre-back in who is more experienced, then I don't actually have an issue with it, to be honest with you. We know that Bournemouth are really interested in Josh Achimpong, and they've tried to sign him twice, according to The Sun. So they have literally had two, not necessarily bids. I don't know if it's bids rejected or offers or something. But Chelsea aren't interested in selling Josh Achimpong. We're not interested in doing it. And I have no issue with us rejecting those offers from Bournemouth. I think it's great that we're willing to hold on to our young players. But yeah, I sort of concur with your point, because if you do have young players who aren't, they're not on loan and they're not getting game time at Chelsea, then it's very, very hard mentally to deal with that as a young player, but also they're not actually going to be improving on the pitch either. So very, very fair point there. Okay, let's just quickly touch on some of the other news that we've seen. Obviously, if you were on my stream last night, you know that Chelsea, according to this Brazilian source, Vene Casagrande, we rejected a 45 million offer from West Ham for Andre Santos. I am not surprised that West Ham offered that amount of money. I think that's a decent amount of money, to be fair, for Santos. I don't think it's a disrespectful offer. I think it's actually quite a fair offer. But I don't think they really understand the value of Santos to us. You know, it's just like if, I don't know, trying to think of a player off the top of my head in the league. I can't think of anyone, but okay, let's go Jack Grealish when he got sold from Aston Villa. He wasn't actually worth 100 million, but he was worth 100 million to Aston Villa. So my point is that Andre Santos is probably worth a little bit over 45 million. I'd say he's worth about 50 or maybe even 60 in today's market. But to Chelsea, being our third best midfielder and knowing that we are going to have to utilize our midfield and rotate with many games, many fixtures coming up, then you would have to say that he is worth more of 80 to 90 million. I mean, if we're even going to consider it. And again, if you look at just below that tweet, it says that Chelsea said to West Ham's board to inform them that the Brazilian player will not leave the team and advise them to abandon the pursuit. Basically, just giving West Ham a pat on the head and saying, jog on. Respectfully, we advise them to abandon the pursuit. So I think that's what will happen. I think that, I think they will abandon it. I don't think there's actually any, I don't think there's anything really to add to that. I think it's sort of a one-off situation in terms of that. It's not even a saga, is it? Well, hey, I mean, anything could happen, guys. I mean, football can move quickly. A post on social media from Xavi Simons was ring on his IG. Well, he's calling because he's waiting for Chelsea to pick up the phone and say, okay, come to London, have your medical. He wants to go to Chelsea. That is according to Fabrizio Romano. So if that is the case, then that's quite funny. But we need to really get going, guys. We need to sort it out because I'm hearing Man City are getting, involved in negotiations with Leipzig. Nobody's agreed to deal with Leipzig, but we have the player on side. So hopefully, like Caicedo, whatever happens, whatever other bids come in, the player can commit to Chelsea and what we're offering. That's what I would like to see. But, again, you've got to get rid of Nkunku. You've got to get rid of Jackson. We've already mentioned Disasi and other players. So I think that there may be a little bit more time in these negotiations, especially going back to Garnacho. I don't have any updates on that, but I think Garnacho will be a deadline day deal if it does happen. So we'll have to wait and see there. After no chance to sign Walter Maid, Bayern will now advance for Nkunku. They are going strong. Club-to-club contacts daily for the last 4 to 5 days. Bayern will attack even more to get Nkunku, negotiating formulas and numbers. Conversation advancing. Again, this is according to Fabrizio Romano. So when we hear about Bayern Munich, this is a serious negotiation. It's something that can actually happen. I'm going to quickly grab a drink of water. I'm absolutely thirsty as hell. Give me 1 minute. Okay. Thanks for the wait. That's what I needed. Okay. Best wishes to you as well, Carlton. I hope you're doing well, mate. Yeah, well, no, I've given my thoughts on that one. Again, I think it's a fair deal, but doesn't suit Chelsea. I'm passionate about Chelsea. I've seen my whole life supporting the club, so it does get me a bit frustrated sometimes. Thanks for reading my comments. I'm writing rapid. Win to J. Chelsea up the Chelsea. Hopefully it's a permanent deal for Nkunku. I agree with that. New stadium, 80 to 100K. We stay at the bridge until the new stadium is done. Up the Blues. Well, that's a different conversation, but I mean, hey, you never know. So, yeah, just going back to Nkunku, I really do think that this deal will happen. Again, we know that Chelsea initially wanted 50 million. That won't happen. Bayern are pretty big spenders in Germany, but you know they're not idiots, right? They're certainly not Dortmund. They're not going to negotiate. Yeah, they're not going to negotiate 50 million. They won't do it. But I do think 40, 35 million is realistic, or 35 plus incentivized add-ons. If Nkunku scores more than 20 goals in a season, for example, something like that, you have an additional 10 million. That is a deal where you can hopefully get it up to 45 or something like that. So I don't mind Chelsea having a lower initial cut if the bonuses are satisfactory. And I do think that whatever happens, Nkunku would thrive quite well at Germany if he's playing in the middle, if he's playing in a system where it suits him, and ultimately German football, we know that he can perform. So I don't think there's any doubts there. So yeah, I think this deal can happen. I'm pretty confident that Nkunku will be going to Bayern Munich. And it looks, to be fair, I mean, if anyone watched the highlights of Newcastle against Aston Villa, they're really struggling without Isak, without having a goal scorer. So I would like to think that they're really getting desperate and starting to consider more and more the idea of signing Nicholas Jackson as a positive one. So if Jackson goes, if Nkunku goes, and we're able to get, let's just say 100 million for both of them, 60 and 40, roughly speaking, or 65 and 35, that's great business. And that opens up Garnacho and Simmons. Chelsea, again, like I reiterate what the Athletic said. I think that they will not get a centre-back permanently. Maybe a loan. Maybe. But we haven't heard anything about any loan players being linked to us. So, you know, maybe we might have to suck that one up this summer. Okay, people, let's do our 11, our predicted 11. Who will be starting for Chelsea? Which players will be involved in what we're doing? So we're going to go with the 4-2-3-1, but then obviously on the ball, it's going to be slightly different at times. Let me share my screen with you now. Right. Don't think anyone is going to disagree with this one. Robert Sanchez in goal. I'll let you help me today, guys. Who is going to be our centre-back? Who would you like to have? Sorry, left-back, not centre-back, left-back. Let's start on the left. We'll work our way through. Presuming that one of the players is obviously going to be inverting as well. Let's take that into consideration. Because if you are going to invert anyone, it's going to be James or Cucurella. It's not going to be Gusto if you're going to invert. And for that reason, I probably don't think that Gusto will be starting. But hey, never say never. He did start away at Crystal Palace and he overlapped in that game. For those of you who don't remember. So we're going to have Cucurella on the left. And then, we'll go to the right before we get into the debate. I think that James will most likely be starting. Do most of you agree with that? Let me know if you agree with James or if you want to have Gusto in there. See, most people agree with Cucurella. And then, obviously, looking at centre-backs, we need to... Well, who have we got available who's injured, right? We know that Tossen's available. Badiashiel's injured. Colwell's injured. Hatto's available. Chalobah's available. Fofana's injured. But, well, Fofana could potentially be available. But I don't think he'll start. And Anselmino's available and Achimpong is available as well. So, again, when we look at the injured ones, injured players, you've got Badiashile. I'm going to put Fofana in that category. You've got Colwell. So they're all injured. And then you've got Tosin available, Hatto, Gusto, Chalobah, Anselmino, Achimpong. And I think realistically what we're going to see... Oh, fucking hell, Tosin's not available either, is he? Oh, my God. Tosin's not going to be available in this game. I completely forgot about that. So, no Tosin either. So, who's going to be the player who plays it out? I mean, Chalobah, I guess, would make sense. If we're going for experience, then I don't think anyone can really dispute that. And I guess you could say Hatto. But the other option is, in my opinion, Josh Achimpong. That is the other option. And I'll be honest with you. I mean, it's either Hatto or Josh Achimpong. So those are our options there. And that means, and obviously we can change the formation in a second. Let's just presume that when we have the ball, we've got players up here, right? And then you got Reece James inverting. That would mean again, I don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but you got Achimpong playing the ball out. Probably more like that. And then you'd have Caicedo there. Enzo Palmer, striker. So that's what it's going to look like on the ball. Anyway, so this is what I've got so far. I got. I'll be honest with you. Do I feel more confident having Achimpong in there? See, I think David's got a very good point. I haven't really decided, but the thing about Achimpong, like, we know he's a good player. Hatto is 19 years old and was captaining Ajax. So when I think about young players, I think, okay, cool. Do you have the character? Hatto clearly has character if he was the captain of Ajax. I'm going to go with Hatto. I have to agree with that. So I am going to go with Hatto on that one. And then Caicedo in the midfield. Is anyone going to argue with that? I'll wait. And then Enzo Fernandez next to him over here. So that is where we're starting. And that's solid, guys. That is pretty solid. You could complain about the goalkeeper again, but we're not going to complain. We're not going to do that. We're going to have faith. We're going to have some faith and some confidence today. Even without Levi Colwill, we're still going to have faith. And let's not forget as well, Hato was brought in as cover for Cucurella, but also he would have been able, he was like the profiles that he could cover Colwill because he's a left-sided centre-back as well. He is left-footed. But I'll be interested to see how we build up with him. Well, again, this was before Levi Colwill got injured. So we really don't know what to expect. We don't know what to expect. The website is called Lineup Builder. That's all it is, just Lineup Builder. I mean, listen, who knows what the hell we're going to do? But I'm just giving you what I think could happen. In my opinion, this is what I would say is I can see it happening. Palmer in the middle. And the 10. And I don't think we're going to have any disputes over this one either. João Pedro. So if anyone's got any arguments to make about those two, state your claim now. Now is your opportunity to speak. It's a bit deep, isn't it? What's going on here? I'm just trying to predict a lineup. Bayern better honour this Nkunku deal, or Chelsea should never deal with them again. Don't need them, they'll need us. I think we should be talking more about Dortmund than Bayern if we're not going to deal with anyone. Hello, JC. Hope you're doing well. You do agree with that? Yeah, you agree with that one? SV Neto with Pedro in front. Yeah, I mean, we've seen Neto play his best football on the right. Okay. So I think Neto should be starting on the right. And I do think that Gittins will be starting as well. And I think that Esteval will come off the bench and make an impact. Would I like to see Esteval feature? Yes, of course I would. But I can't justify dropping Pedro Neto. And Pedro Neto is not as good on the left. Esteval is, again, not really supposed to be playing on the left. You want to get the best out of your... Again, like we spoke about Gusto earlier. You want to get the best out of your players, play them in the right positions, for crying out loud. And also, they have to earn the right to start, even if you can see that they clearly have... Anyone else having issues with the new ticketing system spent the best part of 2 hours trying to forward tickets to a friend and still not working? I'll be honest with you, M4K. I think you might have messed up a bit there because I feel like the deadline is the day before. So I think that's why you're struggling to forward any tickets. The deadline for doing that is usually about 24 hours beforehand. So I don't think you're going to be able to forward any tickets. Tell me if I'm wrong, guys, but yeah, I think that's why you're in a little bit of a pickle at the moment. What's the announcement of Stamford Bridge there? I have no idea. Craig says João Pedro is going to score 2 If we play Xavi Simons, then what are we going to play? Well, to be honest with you, it could be exactly the same. But, I mean, you could have Xavi Simons instead of Gittins on the left. He's played as a left winger. He's done that plenty. Eze is predicted to not play or confirmed, so dub that Chelsea FC family. Yeah, I mean, I think he will play. I think it's come out that he will play. I wouldn't celebrate too early. But yeah, I mean, any disputes with that lineup? I got Cucurella, Hato, Chalobah, James, Fernandez, Caicedo, Palmer, Neto, Gittins. And that goes from a 4 to a 3. And we're just going to imagine that, oh, for fuck's sake. What the hell is this? What have you done to my lineup? 4-2-3-1. Is it just going to keep messing with me? Oh my God, it's going to keep messing with me. All right, let's just... And then we got that's what I can see in terms of, you know, our build up, etc. So Hato in the middle, able to get those balls through to Fernandez, Caicedo. He'll have James in there as well to get an extra number. Chalobah on the right, Cucurella in there as well. Gittins, you should see lots of dribbling from him. Neto, lots of balls in the box. We know João Pedro can finish those chances. And then Palmer can be linking up as well. So that's what I think. Oh, God. Can you hear the motorbike outside? I think that's a pretty solid lineup. I don't really have any question marks there. I guess the main question mark is Hato and whether he's going to be able to perform playing instead of Levi Colwell. And I'll also be very intrigued to see what Jamie Gittins can do. Do you know what? I'll also be intrigued to see how Robert Sanchez plays. Let's not sit here and act like we don't like we have full faith in the guy, because we don't really have a clue what's going to happen with Robert Sanchez. But I'm excited to see if Sanchez can have a good start to the season. I'm excited to see that, and I hope he does. I really do. Obviously, Nicholas Jackson's going to be left out of the Chelsea squad as well. We already know that, so he's not going to be featuring in this game. He was left out against Bayer Leverkusen and Milan. And it looks like he will be leaving, although we haven't really heard too much about it. There's not much heat on that deal as it stands right now. Got to put this game to bed early. You would hope so. As it's going to play Chelsea fans in the mud. I'm not so sure if we're in the mud, but each to their own. Really didn't work. Oh, I managed to forward a ticket. So that's annoying. I don't know what's happened there. Maybe you need to speak to the club to find that out. Big up, Alex. 5:30 a.m. here in Kentucky. Up early to prep our Bluegrass Blues watch party at the pub. Feels like Xmas morning. Feels like Christmas morning. Oh, it's brilliant. Well, big up to you, Brian. I hope you're doing well. Everyone in Kentucky, all the best. And good to see Chelsea fans all round getting ready for this one. Absolutely fantastic. Liam Delap will be a weapon today. The Palace defense is very physical and he'll rough them up. I think he'll come on as a substitute. I don't think he'll start. Dave says Achimpong instead of Hato. Even without suspension, Nicole, I don't think Jackson was going to feature in this match. So I don't think suspension has anything to do with him being absent. Like I was just saying earlier, he didn't play against Bayern Leverkusen. He wasn't in the squad against Milan either. So we're not going to see anything. Maresca on Friday said that he is training with the group, but he's not going to be involved. And then asked if Jackson is expected to leave, Maresca said, you know the situation already. The window's open, he can leave, and we will see. So, hey, who knows? But I don't think Nico's going to be hanging around for long. Guys, we need to stop thinking about suspensions here. It's not about the reason he's not involved. It's not just because of a suspension. He's not involved because Chelsea are actively trying to sell. Well, we're not actively trying, but it looks like we're going to sell him. All right. He's going to go to Newcastle most likely. And there's no point having a player in the squad whose headspace is probably thinking about other opportunities. He's probably not focused on Chelsea right now. He's thinking about where can I live in Tyneside? What's a nice place in Newcastle? All the rest of it. That is probably what's going through his mind. Maybe even negotiating with Newcastle, speaking with representatives from them as well. It's not. If he was, I know he's suspended. Okay, fine, but he will not be available for the next few games anyway. I don't know how long the ban is either, so I couldn't tell you. A couple of games, maybe one or two. He missed, I think it might be just one game. Was it 1 or 2? I don't think it'll be longer than that. Even if he signed for Newcastle, then I presume he'd still be banned. I feel bad for half these players like Carney. Well, Carney Chukwuemeka apparently doesn't like the way Chelsea treat their players. I would just ask him the question. I just put that out there. You don't feel valued at Chelsea. Do you feel valued when Borussia Dortmund offer 15 million for you? And your value is really around 35, if we're being totally honest. 30 to 40 at least. So does that make you feel valued as a player when they lowball so hard? They don't even want to get over 20 million to bring you into their club, and they say they love you, they say they value you, but then they're not willing to put their money where their mouth is. So that would be my argument when people, well, especially when Dortmund, if he's comparing us to Dortmund, that there's absolutely no sense in those feelings if Dortmund aren't willing to put their money where their mouth are. It's true that Chelsea have treated some players very badly. We treated Chalobah poorly, and I would agree with Chukwuemeka as well. I think we've treated him quite poorly. So I can appreciate why he wants to go. But it's got to be for the right price. I think we can play João Pedro as a winger and Delap as a striker. I doubt that. I don't think we'll do that. West Ham should bid for him. Fair. He's not done an Isak, and none of our players have. We have departures on good terms, and now Carney is being exactly that. Okay, well, he's a pain. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter what he wants. If the money's not right, then it's not going to happen. BVB is just a hilarious beggar club. Glad it got owned by Bayern for years. Oh my God. Absolutely savage, guys. Brutal. Let me know your score predictions in the chat as well, guys. I am predicting 2-1 today for Chelsea. That's going to be my prediction. And big up to everyone that's watching on YouTube and X as well. On YouTube, we have over 100, almost 150 people, but we only have 35 likes as it stands. Come on, guys. Smash that like button and just imagine it like this. Think of it like this. The amount of likes we get is the next budget that we're going to have for the rest of the summer. If we get 100 likes, we're going to spend 100 million. If we get 140, we get 140 million to spend. And there is over 140 of you in here as it stands. That would be enough for a centre-back as well if you wanted Mark Gurhey, just saying. Big up to everyone on X as well. We've got just under 600 people on all platforms. Really appreciate your time. Let's go through the scores. Run up the likes as well. We need at least 75 on YouTube, really. Come on. 15 million is 2007 price for Chukwemeka. 3-1 says Piggy. 5-2 or 4-2 says JC. Kelly says 3-1. 3-1 to Chelsea or 2-1 to Chelsea. Daniel T says 3-0. Good. So we're nice and positive here in the chat. Nothing wrong with that. I'm saying 2-1 as well, guys. I have to admit that's what I'm saying. I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling good about it. Listen, really appreciate your time, guys. I am going to actually make my way to the stadium now. I'm on my way to the bridge. So I'm going to get myself sorted, and then I will hopefully see some of you there if you are going to be at the game. But big up to all of you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Happy match day wherever you're watching from. And up the Chelsea.